Alright, hello, and today we're just going to take a look at the Wood Elf Confederation system. You can see here we currently have the Sisters and Dirthu and Draika all hanging out together. And we are, how far are we from getting, there we go, we're 40% of the way to getting Orion on board as well. So we're going to showcase this methodology or this mechanic because it's one of the most simple, easy, and powerful Confederation mechanics. We're going to start with these two in here. These are, I can't remember what their names are. Torgavan is one of them. These two here are confederated. Normally, you can raise your relations with them through whatever means you need. But most of the confederations in the Wood Elf roster are done by battles. So these guys are done by fighting 3 battles against Bretonnia. If you go to the Oak of the Ages and you look at level 2, you can see here, does it not say, here you go, unlocks Confederation missions with Torgavan and Widrioth. So that's Torgavan and Widrioth, I believe. And then if you go to the 3rd level of the tree, unlocks Confederation missions with Arguelon, Talcin, and the Heralds of Ariel. Now, Draika is not on there. The Wargrove of Woe can only be confederated by the normal relation confederation system, which is why it's probably a good idea to get somebody out there to meet her in case she runs into trouble. Hang on. Oh, excuse me. So how are these guys done? Once you get the tree to level 2, it triggers these Confederation missions, and inside Torgavan there will be one of these here, one of these forest encounters, and it will be with a Bretonnian army. And there will be just one right inside here in Widrioth, and that will be a green skin army. And when you move into the space, you're given the option to ignore it and come back later. You're given the option to dismiss it, which will give you some points of growth, but lower your relations or improve or increase costs of recruiting some units. Nothing major. And then the third option will be to fight a battle against a major army. Those battles usually trigger as ambushes, which make them easy. You do not want to auto-resolve, because that tends to destroy the enemy army. And so you'll defeat them, they'll back off. On the next turn, they will attack you. Again, do not auto-resolve. You want to fight the first 2 manually. And then the third one you can auto-resolve if you need. And as soon as you have triggered 3 wins against anybody, but these are just, spoon-fed factions, any 3 Bretonnian armies and any 3 Greenskin armies, you will confederate these with whatever they've built. And you want to usually go in and check the builds because they have a tendency not to build the economic buildings, which are something that you're really going to want to do. So when you get to level 3, you unlock Confederation missions with Arguelon, Talcin, and Heralds of Ariel. Now, if you are playing as Orion, you can confederate both Arguelon and the Heralds of Ariel using this one. The Heralds of Ariel, you have to defeat the Skaven 3 times. Now, you're not given a Skaven army to fight. This one is actually a Wood Elf army. It's just for buffing the Tree of Ages, the Oak of Ages. So you're going to have to find Skaven, which of course is pretty easy. You can find Skaven pretty much anywhere. But in order to confederate Arguelon, which is Dirthu, you're going to have to defeat a dwarf army, which will spawn here. It's a Karak Norn army, I believe. Yeah, it's a Karak Norn army, and it'll spawn here. And you follow the same process of 3 defeats. Orion is the most difficult and most challenging. To get Orion, you have to raise or sack 10 settlements. Now, depending on what you're doing, you may want to raise or sack. Later in the game, large cities you almost always want to sack for the ridiculous amount of money you can get from them. For example, sacked this for 20,000 gold or something like this. I sacked Eckendorf after Gorbad took it over for 5,000 or 10,000. And you can get higher than that. But once you've sacked or raised them, and you have to sack or raise 10 different cities or settlements, you can't do it to the same one 10 times. Then you'll confederate Orion, and then you'll have all 4 of the Wood Elf legendary lords together. So this is the simplest and easiest system. I got Drika. I met her. She was having a really, really bad time. Where is she here? And then by the time I got over here, it was not worth taking Griffinwood just for the tree at that point, because you can see it would have involved a ridiculous fight with Vlad, and I wasn't interested in that at the time, although now I wish maybe I had, because it looks like he's crushing the dwarfs, so maybe that'll be my next one. I've never actually finished a game with all 4 of the Wood Elf legendary lords. When you're playing as Drika, you can only confederate Durthu. You cannot confederate the other 2. You can only defeat them. So give this faction a try, especially if you've got all the DLC. It's a very simple faction to play with. By argument, they have the most powerful armies in the game. You can usually only afford 1 army for each full tree that you own. You can see I could easily put another army down. And the armies can be relatively cheap depending on which faction you're playing, because everybody gets some sort of discount. The sisters, I guess you have to go see their individual. Yeah, I guess it doesn't say there. The sisters get a upkeep from missile units. That's both flying and ground-based units. Drika gets a lot of good discounts on forest spirits. Same thing for Durthu. Durthu's offices give you 20% discount to all armies that are inside your own territory. So once you enter an area and take it, then you gain that discount. So give the Wood Elves a try for the discounts available to them, for the power of their armies, and for the easy confederation of their troops.